Hi you guys. Okay, so this is the only place in my South Bay house that has plants, and I felt like we should stick with the aesthetic, so here I am. Okay, so the very first video that I made for you guys, I was basically just going through my long laundry list of medical conditions that I'm hoping and I'm feeling hopeful about moving forward, because I am jumping very religiously into the carnivore diet. And so I'm looking forward to that and seeing how that will affect all of my things, whether it's my bipolar II, whether it's my eczema, whether it's my allergic conjunctivitis. Those things aside, this video I did want to dedicate specifically to bipolar II. So the reason I just really feel like, honestly, this channel may or may not lean towards that, because that is such a big part of my life. I have no idea how it will evolve and change with carnivore, and again, I'm very hopeful for that. But bipolar has certainly been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Now, I only recently got diagnosed. I got diagnosed about exactly 2 years ago now. It was right when I got to California. Now, that said, I certainly have always been showing signs and symptoms of bipolar. And I want to talk to you about what that means, but also I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a psychiatrist, and so I instead will also always link videos and podcasts and just different medical materials from much more qualified and credentialed individuals than myself on what exactly bipolar is and the whole process of getting diagnosed and whatnot. But what I can share with you, of course, is my own story. So please like and subscribe if you want to join in, because I certainly will continue to talk about my process. And I just say process because life is a journey, and I realize, it's not getting from point A to point B, it's all the dirty, wonderful things along the way. And I think especially someone with bipolar feels that because we see highs and lows. We see highs and lows quite often, and I would say more intensely than the average non-mood disordered human being. And because I don't think that makes us any less human. In fact, I think it makes us incredibly human, because we do get to see this dramatic spectrum of moods and feelings and human emotion that is so real with such intensity. And I think that absolutely speaks to our strength in handling that, and just seeing how we react to that and what that means for us moving forward. Anyways, I think it's really easy for me to get sidetracked and a little bit abstract when I speak about these things, but I also feel like I am a very abstract, kind of deep thinker in a lot of ways. I like being philosophical, so I do apologize if I run down rabbit holes. And also, I'm not quite comfortable with YouTube yet as far as the editing process, so I am so sorry. I am not going to waste my time doing that right now. These are all going to be one takes. I'm just going to talk at you and share with you, and when I look at the time and realize I've probably gone too long, I'll just try to wrap it up, and that's how we'll go. So let me talk to you a little bit about my experience with bipolar, as well as ways I've learned to cope with it, but I think I can make very much more organized content and topics to speak about moving forward. Of course, because I'd love to answer specific questions, as well as things come up for me, I'd love to share them with you guys, and maybe it'll be helpful for anyone who might be dealing with bipolar, as well as a new diagnosis. I remember being so terrified when I first got diagnosed, because this is everything I know, right? Like, I have always, my sister said it well, this woman knows me. I remember her calling me, and this is far before the diagnosis, this is far before she ever very gently and just so intelligently and carefully asked me to go see a psychiatrist about whether or not I'd have a mood disorder. She particularly thought bipolar. I remember her telling me that if there was kind of an analogy to explain my life, it is that I am constantly skydiving. I am in a state of constant skydiving. And that's just kind of explaining the intensities, as well as her other analogy. She's freaking great at analogies. She's a writer. You should check her out. I will link her stuff below as well. that I'm always on a roller coaster, but I'm never in the middle of the roller coaster. I'm either at the very peaks of the most intense slope, or I am at the very, very low. And that, my friend, is very true. And so she's always seen me. And actually, when we got the diagnosis, I remember us laughing a little bit, just trying to find the humor and the light in it as well, despite it being obviously kind of a scary time for me, or at least kind of a time that certainly I needed to take time and process emotionally, spiritually, whatever that meant. And I remember her saying, oh no, now I feel bad. I feel like even when you were really little, you would go from like laughing to crying, and we would tell you that it's alligator tears. Like I would get in trouble and put in timeout because they thought I was alligator tears, right? They thought I was faking it, but I genuinely felt those emotions so truly, right? That was my truth. And it's always been my truth. Those kind of emotions, always been my truth. Now I want to tell you a little bit more on how I cope with that. And as well as I would love to tell the story of how I've gotten diagnosed, but I'm just afraid that this is going to get very long. So I just kind of want to give you a taste of it, and then hopefully structure my videos a little bit better moving forward. Again, I think I'm just excited to get my story out there and share it and let you guys see me in a way. And then if you guys are interested, you know, tag along for the journey, and I promise I will learn how to make this more structured. My husband is actually a YouTuber, so he will help me learn how to edit. I promise. He does actually incredible videos. I mean, he is a videographer. I will also link his YouTube stuff below, because you have him to thank for fixing this into the future. Right now, these are just one takes. Sorry. I'm really proud of myself, honestly. I actually just got off a call with my therapist, and we were sort of just reflecting on how I've been dealing with life in general, but I can't help but not only celebrate in that, but also celebrate in the fact that this is how I have been handling my bipolar as beautifully and as functionally as I have my whole life. And I have me to thank for that. I have me and my coping mechanisms to thank for that. I have me and my therapist and my psychotherapist to thank for that, because they have helped me learn these tools and coping mechanisms that I can use when I am in survival mode. And you know, there are things we all know we should do, like working out, like eating well, like we know we should do those things, but it's hard, right? And it's especially hard when you are in a low, because you are basically in fetal position. It is the last thing you want to do is get out of the house. But I honestly cannot tell you how much the gym helps me. In fact, this channel has obviously started with a lot of my other health conditions and like explaining actually kind of like the physical things that are currently going wrong with me. I would say the most extreme things for me right now are my physical things. Like I've always dealt with my mental health stuff, so my mood disorder is not new to me. And honestly, it's kind of like the bonus. If Carnivore gives me relief on my bipolar, that is the bonus. Right now, I'm talking about autoimmune diseases. Like that's what I'm more concerned about, only because that's what's causing me immediate pain. Whereas my bipolar, I have hella learned how to freaking work with. And I'm proud of myself. I basically, really important, you guys, know your high. Know your high and know your power in your high. And I'm not necessarily talking about full-blown mania, but like hypomania, and like, right, you feel energetic, you feel passionate, you feel driven, you are on your shit. That is you. That is you. And I just want you to pause for a second. If you're listening to this and you truly have bipolar, like just pause for a second. And honestly, even if you don't have bipolar, when you are feeling yourself, know that that is you, and that is your power. That is nobody else's. So even when, physiologically you shift to a low, stop beating yourself up, because you are that same ridiculously amazing human being that you are when you're in your high. So that's one thing that I think has dramatically helped me in my life in general, as in before the diagnosis ever even happened. The reason I think I have thrived the way I have, and they really kind of are amazed with how functional I am with my bipolar II. And I honestly feel like the number one thing that I can thank for that being the case is the fact that I truly do identify with my high energy self, period. You can think of it as kind of identifying with your highest vibration and being like a little hippie like that. But honestly, it's not that. It's literally like I've never considered myself a depressed person. I have dealt with depression. I deal with depression. I know what depression is. I have seen it. It is not fun. I see it often. I actually am, to give you a little bit more context about my bipolar, I am a rapid cycler. So we're talking, you know, whether it's a week to another week, or it's like a week to a half a week, it's 3 days, 3 days, it's 2 days, 2 days. I mean, it could be quick. I could be on it 3 days, and then I'm in fetal position for 1 day, and then I'm back on it again. So it's super quick for me. And it's weird. It almost, again, I almost never thought about the bipolar, because for me, some of those episodes were just so short. I never felt like I could call it depression, despite the fact that I felt hopeless. I felt suicidal. I literally felt like there was like no answer to life. And it's just that low energy, right? It's like you feel like your soul has been sucked out of you. I mean, I don't really know what other way to say it. Anyways, this is getting long, so I will actually say that the thing that came out, for whatever reason, again, it is flow of consciousness, these videos, is my number one advice with that. If you have recently gotten the diagnosis of bipolar, whether it's bipolar 1 or bipolar 2, I invite you, if you can't suddenly overnight shift your thinking to identifying with your higher self, with your higher energy self, then at least give them credit and lean on them and show up for them on the days you feel it the least. And I will talk more about that, because my friends, actually won my very first bikini competition for OCB, and I'll like possibly have some photos pop up if I can figure out how to edit that in. If not, I'll link some shit below. I'm so sorry. But how did I do that? Because prep was extremely hard. It was extremely hard. It tested me in ways I never imagined it would. But I swear, when I go to the gym on my lows, it's not because I want to go to the gym on my low. It's because I'm showing up for her, because I know she's somewhere. And so I fight for that higher energy self. So know that that's you. Step into that power. Believe in yourself. Lean on that. And take a deep breath, because like I said at the beginning of this video, you know, any diagnosis like this, it doesn't make us any less human. In fact, I think it makes us more human. I believe, you know, everybody sugarcoats life, right? Everybody seems to think everything needs to be so happy and sunshiny. I feel like everybody apologizes when you're going through stuff. People ask me how I am, and I'm really, really honest. Sometimes I'm brutally honest. And it's not to make anyone feel uncomfortable. I really just want to normalize not feeling happy at whatever it is, right? Like if you're going through something, I mean, I truly believe suffering and pain and grief is inseparable from joy and love, right? Like we only grieve someone because we have loved a life. And I try to think the same thing of my own mood disorder, right? Like I can only enjoy these highs because of those lows. Well, it's the contrast. Everything is relative. And so to try to lean into that a little bit more, try to kick yourself a little bit less. It can be scary, but you know, you're not alone. There are people who support you. And I hope that seeing content like this can really remind you of that and be some sort of light in any way, shape, or form. I'd love to know if this video has helped you. It certainly will encourage me to just keep going and sharing my story, because again, we'll get more organized. I can explain myself a little bit better, but for now, we're gonna cap it. It's getting long, all right? I hope you like this. Definitely like and subscribe. We'll always remind you, I'm a marketer, so I gotta have that call to action button. Gotta make sure to remind the people who are watching. I actually do have a personality. I'm kind of making very serious videos, and again, because I don't know how to edit yet, I just kind of want to stay on track and not get too all over the place. But I will crack jokes here and there, and I promise I kind of, you know, make faces and do weird crap all the time. So I'm sort of entertaining, if you ask me. Anyways, I hope you have an amazing day, you guys. I will definitely give you more context on me and who I am, and again, that diagnosis, the whole journey. But for now, I have talked enough, and I gotta go to the gym. So I'll see you guys later, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.